Grayskull gets honored with He-Man's sister's second release. Here's your look at the Mattel Master Universe Masterverse, new Etheria She-Ra. For the honor of Grayskull, She-Ra stands with the powers of new Etheria against the evil Horde and protects the boundaries of the universe from an invasion. It looks like Adora has been adorned with some new armor. Before we look at her armor and all the accessories that come included with her, let's take the tape measure and see how tall the brand new Etheria, not new Eternia, She-Ra actually stands. With that, of course, I'm going to need the help of the tape measure, and the tape measure is going to tell us that she stands at 7 inches in height. She does. You can see it for yourself. That works out to be a figure that's 18 centimeters tall. This is now the second time we've gotten ourselves a She-Ra of this scale, but if you actually look at the scale, the new Etheria release of her is actually considerably taller than the original one. That still holds true as well when we look at, like, Catra, for example. Catra's going to be about the same size as the original She-Ra, so because of that, of course, she's going to be a little bit shorter than the new release. Bringing in some other figures also as well. Here's what she looks like with Hordak. Why not bring in as well Shadow Weaver? I love the look at her. And here's also what she looks like with Grizzlor. So quick to throw away the packaging, because located in the side of the packaging, you'll find yourself a bag that contains She-Ra's shield. She-Ra's shield, that's a hard thing to say 10 times fast, is all cast here in gold plastic, adorned with a jewel on the front of that. It's a really nice look to the shield. The shield does attach onto her arm. She does actually have one larger hoop on the back, a slightly smaller hoop that attaches around her hand. Not the easiest thing, though, to do, because when you're trying to put this around her hand, for example, sure, it fits fine around her forearm, but then when you get to her hand, unfortunately, you kind of have to pry the fingers around just to fit around the second handle. You can also even just phone it in and cheat as well. If you're looking from this side, you'd never be any bit the wiser until, of course, somebody goes like this. Wait, what was that? Hey, wait a minute, you're cheating. Okay, yes, I admit I was cheating. So you can have the shield displayed that way. She does also, while we're still talking about that little baggie, have a pair of closed fists. Fine and good, I suppose, but considering that she already has a good-looking shield and an equally good-looking power sword, I can't ever see myself having a need to want to display her with a closed fist. Personal preference. Speaking, though, of the power sword, she does in fact come included with that. The sword itself is cast here nicely in gold plastic. It's pretty much the same kind of gold plastic as the shield, although you can see it's a little bit lighter. So it's not matching 100%, but it's pretty close. The sword can also fit obviously into her hand as well, because of course she does have gripping hands on both sides. Let's go ahead and do that right now. I'll tell you one thing, though, about She-Ra, is that, unfortunately, while the figure does have some decent levels of posability, they seem to have left off, though, one little bit of posability, that being her biceps. Strangely, though, that all the other figures of this scale have all usually had bicep swivels, yet this She-Ra now does away with it. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. But that looks good. I mean, I like the way that she's actually displayed now with a shield in one hand, the sword then in the other. There's no storage space, by the way. If you look at the back of the body, there's no holster, for example, where you could sheath the sword. So you're going to have either the choice of having them displayed with the way that I'm doing it right now, or the other choice of just not having her displayed with anything. Removing both those accessories right now, let's put them off to the side. Yeah, you know, one of the things, again, with this She-Ra is not only does she have a brand new design to her, but she has, again, no bicep swivels, which is, again, really strange. As for the head sculpt, I think it's actually quite good. I'm glad I had still the chance to kind of pick up this figure, because, like, initially seeing it online, I wasn't really sure if I loved the design of her. The outfit, in fact, actually does kind of remind me of the He-Man She-Ra Power Tour, which came out in 1987. If you ever look at the poster of that, there's a real actors, of course, of both He-Man and She-Ra. She-Ra's wearing a very similar style of headpiece as what we get in that promotional poster. I think actually the little side, like feathers, for example, stick a little further up. But I get very much that kind of poster when I'm looking at the design of the character. To bring back in that original She-Ra, you take a look at them, you can clearly see that they're using a brand new body. She hasn't skipped leg day at all. I mean, if you look at the thighs, for example, on the new She-Ra release, granted, though, a little paler than I would have liked it, she is definitely a much more muscular leg, and she's also a much more muscular arm as well. Now, both She-Ras did also have capes. The original She-Ra, more closer resembling that of the cartoon, would have had a red cape. The new She-Ra is now sporting kind of more of a magenta cape. Both kind of attached the same way onto, like, the head. So, for example, to get the cape off, you'd have to remove the head, then you'd have to take the entire piece off. What's rather interesting, though, is that the shoulders that she has don't attach at all to the front of her torso. They only seem to attach on the back of her body. So, like, if I was to kind of lift up her head, for example, she essentially has like a collar ring, and then that goes to the back and attaches to the cape. Then the shoulders attach only to the back of the body, not to the front. So she's kind of free to do whatever she wants on the front of her body. Again, I really think that the head sculpt is really good. To bring back also the packaging too. Let's just put her down here for a second. I know we don't really spend a whole lot of time really discussing the packaging, but even like just the way that she's drawn right here. The only thing maybe I'd be able to offer up for things that I would have improved to the figure is that just adding a little bit of darker color around her eyes, I think really would have made the face a lot prettier. It still, though, is a nice looking face, but I think a little bit of paint probably could have made the face a little bit nicer. But really nice looking armor overall. And of course, she does have the shield, she does have the sword, just the way that I had her displayed earlier. One thing I also really think, and I take away from this figure too, is that it doesn't just follow the format of what a She-Ra has to look like. So to go back and to look at the original one, for example, yeah, again, like this one is so much closer resembling to that of the cartoon. I don't think it's that bad of an idea. Now, this is a guy that usually likes the classic look of characters. I'm actually defending a She-Ra this time around because she's doing something a little bit different. To look at the two, you'd still say that, well, I think both of them look like a She-Ra. This one just is a little bit different, and that's not a bad thing at all. The thing that's cool about this too is that all of her skirting on the front first is made of softer plastic, but they went the approach of giving it more of a pearl color as opposed to just simply a white. In fact, that pearl color makes its way as well to the feathers, although instead of being a white, it's more of a pink. I love the way they've tipped the end of that all in gold. The gold, though, is pretty close to her hair, so from the side, it does kind of look like it blends a little bit too much. But I think overall, I think the face is really good. I think the outfit is nice on her. Really nice, interesting looking way they've sculpted the boots too. So instead of just the regular gold boots that she would have had before, this new She-Ra now has these sort of, I don't know, like seashells or even like fanned out wing boots. Those are really neat as well. The figure does have 2 pegals on the bottoms of her feet, so there's also available means to attach her onto a display stand. Not that a display stand really is available at the time of these figures coming out, but I'm sure you probably could use yourself a display stand from another figure. Looking here at the articulation, though, for She-Ra, she may be a little bit more limited just by how much locks that she has on the back of her hair. Because of that, like rotating her head can be a little bit more difficult. She can only really turn her head side to side, and that's about it. Moving her head up, forget about it. Moving her head down is a little bit easier to do, but it's one of those trade-offs just by having longer hair like this. You can't get as much mobility from the head. You can certainly do a lot more, though, when it comes to her arms. Now, the arms come out, keeping in mind, again, like those shoulders are attached only by the back of her body. You can bring those arms out at a T pose or the 90-degree angle bend. You can take the arms, of course, and you can move them forward. I did notice, though, with She-Ra that moving her arms forward are a little more tighter. Almost to the point where I feel like there's a little bit of resistance happening. Again, I'm a little disappointed, though, that the figure doesn't have any bicep swivel. Maybe they chose to do it this way so that the arm looks more seamless, so that the bicep blends then into the shoulder. I personally would have preferred, like even again, like to look back on the original She-Ra, the first She-Ra and every other figure that's been released of this scale always tend to have bicep swivels. So this is the first time I think that we've gotten ourselves a figure that doesn't actually have that. Single hinge only in the elbow, but at least the elbow does all the work for the form. So while we lose it here, we still manage to have it here in the forearms. Hands rotate all the way around as well, whether you want to use these hands or the other hands. She does have an upper torso ball joint. A really nice thing to see. Granted, the original figure also had that as well. She does also have sort of just more of a waist swivel, where again, like this moves up and down, you're only going to be really relegated to having the waist move back and forth, side to side. The legs do split out, as muscular as they may be. You can take the legs and move forward and back. 3/4 of the way up the thigh, there's a swivel cut there too, so you can rotate the leg all the way around. There is a double hinge, although with my figure, it's really tight. And not that I'm complaining at all. Would really rather have tight joints on knees and elbow joints and anything really on a figure than having overly loose joints. But I did notice, though, on her, she's really tight. There is a swivel down below because the boot essentially is a separate piece from the calf. There is an ankle pivot up and down. There's a nice little ankle rocker. Yeah, she was a nice looking figure. It's not really sure, though, why they chose to leave the bicep off, other than the only thing I can really think of is that they wanted the arm to look a little bit more seamless. Also, they could probably clearly not have done that with the rest of the arm, because then the arm would have had no posability. So she does lose a little something in that regards. But what she does gain, at least, is a different design. Again, if you like the cartoon look, by far, there's always the available option of going back to the original She-Ra, whether, again, I don't know what prices she's going to be going for now online. But the new She-Ra does benefit as well by being a taller figure, too. The design, again, is very different, but still recognizable enough. to look at her, you know still who the character is. I think a lot of it really has to do as well that she's got, again, like the headdress piece. So again, we know that that's what She-Ra is. She has the cape. She has a very similar style of armor. It clearly isn't based on this design at all. It's a brand new thing. And the brand new thing works out to be a pretty cool looking She-Ra overall. One of those individuals that buy into the idea that Mattel teases their future characters on their packaging. Then located on the packaging for the new Etheria She-Ra, you'll see Swiftwind, you'll see Cal, you'll see Mantenna, but also in the far corner, you'll also see Lookie. So I'm wondering if at some point we might get a release of Lookie. I think if anything, if they choose to release a Cal's small enough anyways, that would probably be a most logical way to release both a Cal and a Lookie as possibly a 2-pack. Not to go too far ahead of things though, looking back though at She-Ra, you know, again, like it's one of those things that sometimes you need to pick up a figure and see her in hand. I'm not that I'm going to necessarily sell on anybody on the idea that if you don't like this look of She-Ra, whatever thing I say in this review, whatever I do to kind of talk about how the things I like about the character may not convince you at all. But though seeing it physically in hand, I think I actually like the look of the figure a lot more than when I initially saw her online. You know, pictures don't always give a good idea, a good reflection of what a character looks like. Like I said, sometimes you either need to see her in the wild, which unfortunately as a Canadian collector is very few and far between. We can't even find anything like this new in local stores. Or sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith. Pick up a figure and hope that you like it. I went for a leap of faith. I picked up She-Ra in the hopes that I would have liked it because I already had picked up the other new Eternia figures. And the end result is I actually do like this look of She-Ra. She's different enough, but she's still same enough. She's kind of the best of the both worlds. Again, this comes from somebody that normally likes the classic look of the characters. This isn't so much a classic look to She-Ra, but it's still a look that I actually like. What do you guys think of the new look of She-Ra? Let me know down below in the comments section. Do you also think it's a little strange that Mattel chose to omit bicep swivels on a figure that for up to this point, all the other female figures have all had bicep swivels, even like Shadow Weaver, for example. But what do you guys think of She-Ra? Let me know down below. If you guys also did enjoy this video, you can do it a solid, of course, and hit this video with a like. And if you guys want to stick around for more so, and I hope so, hit the subscribe, turn on that bell so you're going to get the reminders of every single time a new video posts. And if you want to certainly check out more that I've done for Mattel and He-Man, popping up at the very end of this video will as well be playlists. Feel free to give those a look. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.